Jolie, you have a really interesting story about how you got started in
I do
Los
have an
Angeles.
interesting story, yes.
You were already in New York working.
I was in New York working. I did like Shakespeare in the Park and some off-Broadway stuff. And I had an agent. So it was probably more than most people have. But people would come to New York and they would audition people for pilots, and then it always turned out that they would get the people that lived in L.A. So I was going, well, I want to do TV. I want to do that. So I decided, okay, I'm going to come out here for 6 weeks in pilot season, one pilot season. And pilot season is, for those of you that don't know, pilot season happens from around
March, late February through April-ish, May, right?
And they make all these pilots. It's all different now because there's
pilots,
no TV.
Right. Pilots for the main networks means what they're going to show next fall. They are sampling what TV shows they may want to go into production, buy, and then shoot for next fall's lineup.
Correct. So I decided, you know what, I should come out here for pilot season just to see if I like the place, if they like me, so I came out here, and I had an agent in New York who had an affiliate that happened to have an office out here.
Los Angeles office.
Thank you. So I had some interviews. So the very first day I was here, there's so many things that you need to know about coming here and you need to rent cars and have places to stay. And so I did. And the first day I was here, they had 5 general auditions.
That's amazing.
Set up for me. And I was only going to be here for a week.
Okay.
And I said 6 weeks. No, it was only a week. I don't know. Okay. So a general audition is a very important thing, which we go through on the website.
That's right. And general audition is not for any part specifically. It's for to meet the casting director, to see kind of what you're all about as a person, to get a feel for how you present yourself, so that the casting director keeps you in their mind and their file to use for project that might come up, some role you might be right for.
It's a really important thing that every actor should know. Okay, so I had like 5 generals. The last general of the very first day I was here was for Three's Company. That's how old I am. I came here for, and I was just meeting the casting director of Three's Company, and it was like I was going the wrong way down Fountain Avenue, and I didn't know where, because in Los Angeles, you have to drive from one end of the city to another and back, and they're all over the place. Okay, so I go there. It was the end of the day, and I was like, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to do? And we had a great time. He was a very, very lovely man named David Graham.
Oh.
And you know David Graham?
I do.
Yes. And we just sort of and then he said, do you have a minute? I said, yeah. And he said, would you mind reading this? And I went, no, sure, yeah, what do you want? And he said, hold on. And I went out to the lobby, and I sort of read what they were doing. And when I came back into the room, it was David Graham and 3 guys.
Oh, he went and found producers.
Well, I didn't know that, but it was like 3 guys. And I read it, and they laughed, and I said, oh, well, okay, thanks very much. And I walked out of the room and to the elevator. It was at CBS Studio Center, which is like Fairfax, right?
Oh, that's Beverly. That's Television Center.
Television Center.
Right, where we shoot The Young and the Restless.
Where you are.
Yes.
And I was at the elevator. I pressed down, and David Graham came out and said, Joel. And I went, yes, you got the job.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And I fell on the floor laughing. It actually turned into a recurring role on Three's Company, but it didn't really go for 3 weeks. It wasn't until, I think, 2 years into my career that I realized it was totally unlike any other audition that you can ever get. It is, usually you have to wait for the part to come up and go with tens of other people that look like you and audition for the part. It just was because that general was so magical that he thought of me for this role and got the producers who happened to be in the office at the time, who happened to say yes. And so I got a job, and I sort of worked for the next until now. And what time is it? I might be out of work now. But it's, you know, it started the ball rolling. It was a very odd thing. And it was only because of the techniques that I used in the audition process, and I only had 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And we go through what you need to do.
That's right. He means he only had 5 minutes with the material, right? He said, here, look at this scene. He didn't have overnight to study it and come back tomorrow. He had to go out and figure out what he's going to do right now. There
are so many things that go into an audition. There are so many ways to prepare for an audition, and each audition you get is so special and individual, and there's many different ways of handling each one. Mm-hmm. And if you have all these techniques, you know, okay, I have 5 minutes, I'll go blah, 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 and I got it, and I sort of haven't stopped working since.
Don't you think that another key to all of this is also that you have to be able to make things second nature? You have to have practiced things beforehand. I don't mean homework on the specific project, but you have had to have done enough of the experience that you know how to shorthand version your homework. You know how to make decisions quickly and plug those things in that always work for you. And then you can walk right into the audition with confidence.
Well, I don't mean to blow our own horn, but that's exactly what we talk about. No, it's a very clever. Is to set up all the stuff, to practice all the stuff that you need. So when you walk into the room, you are prepared for anything. Now,
I want to also say, I don't mean to interrupt, I'm sorry, I do that badly, but that Joel's situation, Joel's story is not a normal story, and don't expect those things for yourself.
But they could happen.
They could. And that's the kind of the magic of being in show business, is that every now and then things like that just drop into your lap.
But here's the thing that I wanted to say with that story. If you're prepared for something, if you expect something, it normally happens. If you walk into the room knowing, oh, I can do that, which I didn't know I couldn't, it happens for you. Mm-hmm. And it could happen to you. We're at auditionsla.com. That's one word, auditionsla.com.
Sign on, log in, and use our tools, our information, and all of our education.